So, hello.
Hi.
Welcome. As you can see, we've replaced our host for good. She doesn't know, but Anna Kathleen, you're fired.
We already talked about it last time we were together. It's
yeah,
okay.
sorry, you're never coming back. We actually aren't even friends with you anymore. I don't know how you guys are going to be officers together.
It's definitely going to be awkward.
It's going to be a weird
sure.
year for you, but
Yeah.
it was for the best. Just kidding. She's in Florida. The most lawless place in America and the world, honestly.
I'm hoping she comes back with like
coming back.
She's. I hope she's coming back, man. No, I hope she comes back with like a Florida man story.
Oh, I hope so.
I really need that
because she's in Daytona, which we were talking about Daytona recently. One of my professors, the one I'm doing research with right now, before she came to UArk, was working at UF in Gainesville, and she said, what were we talking? Oh, there's a college in Daytona that my neighbor's daughter is going to for like aero engineering, and they require all their students to have pilot's licenses. It's like a thing. And I mentioned it to her, and she was like, oh, I don't remember the school's name, and she goes, yeah, that's a weird place, man. Daytona, it's a weird place. So I hope we get some weird stories.
That's where like NASCAR is, right? So it's like the white trash capital of the US. So I mean,
anything on the Atlantic coast side of Florida. The only like good part I would say about the Atlantic side of Florida is the Kennedy Space Center.
That's pretty cool.
Just that part.
Just that part.
Like the rockets go up. There's a museum with moon rocks in it, and that's the only good part. And there's a nature preserve, like all of the land around it. So lots of gators.
I was about to say it's like a swamp.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like it's good for the nature, but bad for the humans that might be wandering around.
But I feel like it's their own fault if they go to a swamp and don't expect to encounter a dangerous wildlife species.
My mom and I were talking about this one time. She goes, the thing that keeps me from ever wanting to live in Florida, which I don't know why this is the only thing keeping her from wanting to live in Florida. There's a lot of reasons I would not want to live in Florida.
The one thing that's stopping her.
Yeah. She's like, I just like don't like the idea of there being a gator just that appears out of nowhere. Like if you have a pond nearby, you can't see them because the water's so nasty that suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, hello, 12-foot beast that's going to eat me. Like,
so story time. My best friend from high school
got eaten by a gator.
No.
Okay, good. No.
She graduated a year early and went to Florida College.
Where is that?
I don't know.
Cool.
But she posted on her story like in the first week, and this is like a very strict Christian school, and I don't know why that's relevant, but I thought it was funny.
Wait, was it the like PCC or whatever, the Pensacola Christian?
It's not like the name of it is Florida College.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, very self-explanatory.
I didn't assume a place called Florida College would be a private school.
No, right?
Because like PCC is a scary school if you've never heard of that place.
Oh, I have heard of it. But she like posted on her Snapchat story just like this random like huge gator just chilling on campus, and I'm like, that's terrifying. If I saw a gator on our campus, first of all, I'd question how it got up the hill. Second of all, I'd be terrified.
The fact that it's like near Clearwater, which is where Scientology is based. Fun fact. So
I did not know that.
But yeah, no, the fact that Disney is not safe from gators tells me all I need to know.
It's not?
No, they're just around in Orlando. Like, do you not remember that kid who got eaten by a gator at a Disney resort like 3 years ago?
No.
Like a 5-year-old. It was really sad, but like,
I've never been, so
well, it was like a national thing.
I also don't pay attention.
Fair. I think this was pre-TikTok, because I feel like if it happened during TikTok, it would have been an even bigger
thing. Can you
thing.
imagine Harambe during TikTok?
I've thought about that before, actually, because
it's already such a big deal.
It would have
already.
So
like Twitter,
funny.
Instagram, Snap, like everything. My friends were obsessed with it. 2016, just the whole year was just rough.
Everything about 26, like, people love to romanticize the, like, 2013 era. Yeah. No, if you're going to romanticize the 2010s, 2016 is the year. Because...
To romanticize?
Out of the 2010s.
Okay.
Because so much happened that year.
It was like one thing after another.
That year. So slay there. I was allowed to start driving, which I didn't like driving at the time, but at least 14. I could do it alone.
That was like peak middle school era. I was the king of middle school.
It was the summer of which you weren't a Taylor Swift fan, at least. You're more of one now than you were, I'm sure then.
I am.
But like that was the year of her like 4th of July summer party with like Tom Hiddleston and like that whole thing.
I saw a TikTok about that.
Whole era was insane. I would love to tell you even more about the lore of that. It was such a weird time. But then like, what else happened that year? Just, I feel like a lot. That was the year of the clowns.
Oh my god.
Halloween time. That was the year of Yik Yak, like its first iteration, I'm pretty sure, because my school banned it. They said if like they found any students had it on their phones, they would get like an immediate. It was really stupid. People weren't even like saying bad things because we went to a Christian high school and everyone was like, half of the kids were teachers' children. And so no one actually said anything bad. I think I didn't have it on my phone, but one of my friends did, and we were like looking at it one day, and my friend, as a joke to see it, if she would get any reactions, her name's Ceola, she said, "Kayla has a nice butt." Not a single reaction.
Oh, that's
but
sad.
At least no one was saying like, "What? Like, are you joking?"
No one disagreed.
Yeah, at least it wasn't like, "Are you joking? Like, why would you say that?" that would humble
wreck me.
As a 16-year-old, that would humble you fast.
I feel like there's such a difference between like your life at that time and my life at that time, which is 2 years age difference.
Well, yeah, freshman versus junior year. Yeah. That was also the year my class went to. We went to Washington, D.C. That fall. Crazy trip, because that was also, as you imagine, the election year.
Oh, that was another crazy thing.
It was a month before the election. Yeah. A month before the election. You can imagine, so on our flight there, I don't know why they did it this way, I guess. When they bought the tickets, there, at that point, were about 50 people total, including my classmates and our chaperones. For some reason, they sent 40 of us on one plane and 10 on a different one. So ours went through Chicago, theirs went through DFW. I was on the bigger one. And our plane was like full. They ended up having an extra flight attendant sit in the jump seat between two junior high school boys. And she was very pretty and skinny and blonde. So as you can imagine.
That poor woman.
It was also 6 a.m. And so at first we were all like exhausted, but as we got closer to Chicago, then we were like a little more talkative and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were very respectful. Like the guys that she was between, honestly, are probably some of the best guys she could have been next to.
The best option.
But my friend, and I was sitting back there with all the guys too. Thankfully that they put me in, not someone who like hated them, because I don't think they would have put up with it the way that because I just laughed along with them. But like, he said, completely joking, like not even an ounce of seriousness, he was like, yeah, and we're going to go see the White House, you know, the future home of President Donald Trump. And she immediately, you could immediately see in her face, she was like, disgusting, get away from me.
Oh, no.
As she should. But he was completely joking. And then whenever the election happened, my first thought was, I wonder if that flight attendant is thinking about that flight to Washington, to Chicago O'Hare with a bunch of high school juniors. I felt like that's all I could think of, because I was like, I wonder if she thinks about that.
Yeah.
And like after the inauguration, if she like laid awake at night being like, it was all that kid's fault, bro. Like, you know,
Like, couldn't even vote.
Or if she, like, thinks about it from time to time, like, during the presidency and afterwards, she'd be like, you know, I was on this flight one time. Like, if it's memorable to her. Because, I mean, flight attendants go on so many flights. Who knows what's memorable and what's not.
Yeah. That would be funny, though. If that's something she thinks about.
Stuck in a jump seat, thinking you're having a nice conversation. Suddenly some kid starts talking politics as a joke and just immediately like, okay, well, this conversation is over. I'm never interacting with children again.
Yeah.
That trip was insane. We rode a charter bus around DC. Uh-huh. We did bus karaoke at night on our way back to the hotel. That was interesting. That was also the year that the album 1989 came out. So my friend and I sang Bad Blood. And for some reason, the bus driver turned too quickly. And I fell over on top of our Washington, D.C. guide, who was like a 50-something-year-old man. And just right on top of him. And he was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I'm done. Goodbye. I'm deceased.
That stuff always, like, seems to happen to you.
What? And what other...
Like, you always tell stories about just awkward things happening to you. Like, you got hit by a car, you fell on a 50-year-old man in a bus.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of just weird interactions that often involve men. Because the person who hit me with the car was a man. Every conversation, there was this one, how much do I want to say? There was this one person that, because I still interact with this person sometimes, but not as much as I did back then, in high school, who is older than me, who every interaction I had with this man was just the most awkward. And it still is for some reason. It's really weird talking to this man. But, like, he's never going to see this. It's fine. So, it's a doctor at my mom's work. And before he, like, started there, because he was just getting out of his fellowship, he's a surgeon, and they were, like, like, teasing me, being like, oh, he's going to be, like, this young doctor, like, maybe you're going to marry him. I was 16. So this was also the summer of 2016.
That's, like, at least a 10-year age gap.
Yeah, no. And he's 15 years older than me. Like, exactly. But I didn't know that. And the way that they were talking him up, they were like, oh, he's going to be like 20-something. And I didn't know. I was 16. I was like, haha, funny. And then he came, and then it was just really awkward. And I had to work with him for a while. But now I still see him. And the last time I saw him, he, like, asked me a question, and I was kind of half paying attention to what he said. So I answered really weird. And then I was like, we were both just kind of like, and just kind of stood there and nodded our heads, and I was like, I want out of this conversation.
Yeah.
Saw him at a football game last season. That was awkward. Not awkward, but we were, like, leaving the game early, and he was with his children. And I was like, oh, hi.
His children.
And he was like, oh, hello. And I was like, we're leaving. This game is bad. It was the Liberty game that we lost.
I don't even think I went to that one.
That was homecoming.
I was not at that one. That was in November. Mm-hmm. I was at family weekend at ORU.
Yeah, we went because, like, we hadn't had the parade, the homecoming parade, and so we did everything at the Bucks tailgate. I mean, I go to almost every game anyways, but then that game started going so bad, and then it got cold. No, maybe it was warm actually that day. I don't actually remember what the temperature was, but for whatever reason, we were like, this game sucks, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And so as we were walking out, I was like, oh, hi, doctor that I've known for a while, like almost 10 years now. But yeah, every interaction I have with him is really weird, and I don't know why. He's just a guy. Yeah. He's really nice. They come swim in our pool sometimes.
That's fun.
Every time, though, have an awkward conversation. And I'm like, I just
don't mesh well.
No. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. But anyways. Welcome to World Class Athlete. I don't think I ever said that. We just immediately jumped right into it and did 15 minutes worth of content.
Welcome.
In case you didn't know what this is.
We're in a new location.
Mm-hmm.
This is my new house.
Yes.
That I just moved into.
Yes. I have been in this house before this.
But it wasn't mine at the time.
Our friends lived here.
Yeah.
And my friend, our second guest, Caroline, and also Olivia both lived in this house. But Caroline's room was this one.
Yes.
So, shout out Caroline and Olivia, but mostly Caroline in this case.
So I texted Olivia yesterday because, I was asking her, like, how to set up the utilities and things just throughout this whole process. And I could not get the stove to work yesterday. And I wasn't cooking anything. I just, like, wanted to turn it on because it's like a range, like a gas range. Like, there's fire, and that's cool. And I, it wasn't turning on. And so I texted her. I was like, did y'all have any problems with the stove? Like, did it not work? And then as soon as I send her that, all of the burners start working. Nice. So then I have to text her again and be like, no, I'm actually just really dumb and I don't know how to work anything. But
well, good.
That's okay.
I guess we can segue that into our microphones.
We can.
Because they are both kitchen related.
So this is my brand new dish brush. It's really cool. It has like these little like gray scrapey thingies that I imagine work well at cleaning. But I don't like touching dirty dishes, so it has a really long handle, and that's very convenient for me.
Nice. I have a spoon from a flour canister. I think it's a tablespoon. I have these exact canisters. I should know this. It's a tablespoon.
I've never actually measured it. But...
Nice and metal. I hope you heard that. Sure. I've used them. I mean, I've never like actually compared. I just assume that they're the thing that they say they are. I would hope like so.
If it's not, that's just such a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they are though. I think that's kind of standard for like ones that are attached like that. But yeah. Songs. I know you've been thinking of yours. I need to like look at Spotify and decide on one.
I should have been.
Oh, I thought you like came up with one literally last week.
No, I said I needed to come up with one and
cool.
They're on a hot girl walk. That's so fun.
Love that for them. Wait, do I know that girl? I might know that girl, the redhead. I'm not sure. That may have been my old little. I've had 2 littles and they were both gingers. And then they both dropped after a semester. And I was like, cool. I've been abandoned twice.
That's so sad.
I was actually fine with it. Neither of us meshed that well. So it was okay.
Did y'all not get to like choose?
No, we did.
Oh.
It just like, well, my first one I didn't get to choose. She was assigned to me and we were very different. Like in every way possible. I couldn't see her face, so I don't know if that was her or not. But anyways, yeah. And then my second little, also ginger, she was really nice, but then she just randomly dropped and then, but like, yeah, I don't know. We never got that close. She was cool. But yeah, anyways. Okay, music.
Oh yeah.
It was a Machine Gun Kelly song. Oh my gosh, which one is it? It's from Tickets to My Downfall, but I don't remember which song it was. I have seen him in concert once for that tour, and he was really good. Hangover Cure, that's the song. I'm pretty sure it's about Megan Fox.
Oh.
But it's probably one of his best songs. It's not a rap. It's kind of pop punk, but it's like the backing is, but the vocals are less punky, more poppy. Gotcha. And I just think it's one of his best songs. It's very good.
Okay. Mine is High Heels by Flo Rida, Walker Hayes, and Sam Felt. It's really good. It's a good like party song. Blasted in my car for the past like 3 weeks.
Nice.
So
I just didn't want to say another Taylor Swift song this week. Especially because Anna Kathleen and I did like a 40-minute, like 40 of our 60 minutes were just about Taylor Swift, as we should, but
I've watched like half of last week's episode.
You got another mention. That's just the running theme. You're the only other person our account follows on Instagram that's not us, so
really?
Yeah. You're basically part of it now.
I mean, I might, yeah.
I don't know what your official title should be.
Just fill in. I fill in for things.
Creative. Athletic consultant. Athlete. Okay. WAG consultant.
WAG consultant.
Girlfriend of athlete consultant. You give us all of our insider info on athletic, pro baseball mostly stuff.
I'm cool with that.
Cool.
I'm cool with that.
I didn't know if you had any better titles or if you're just...
No. I think WAG consultant's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, if you didn't already figure it out, this is Jess, the famous world-class athlete WAG. That makes you sound like just an object. Like, not a real person.
I mean, like, I feel like there's just, like, lore about me.
Yeah. You've already technically made an appearance, but it wasn't official. You weren't in the title.
No.
It was just the last.
I was in the thumbnail, though.
Yeah. I felt like I had to make sure.
I think I was wearing this exact same shirt, too.
Nice. We have to remember to take a thumbnail today.
Okay.
We will do that eventually. We're really bad about remembering to do that.
I don't think you've done it yet.
No, we have a couple. Last week, we always take just an awkward selfie with our microphones in front of my shelf.
Gotcha.
Or 2 weeks ago or whatever, we did it in front of my Old Main picture because I think we were talking about Old Main or whatever. But, yes. So, would you like to tell us what it's been like dating an athlete from high school to college to now the pros? Because Kate officially signed to the Rockies. Along with an Ohio State baseball player who is friends with my friend that went to Ohio State. He posted on his story, and I was like, with like who was there when he signed? Was that the head coach or was that some?
They told me.
Whoever that guy was in that picture, I was like, was that guy there for every signing? And then I was like, oh no, this guy's going to the Rockies. So he's going to be Cade's teammate potentially.
So the guy in the picture with Cade was Mark Gustafsson.
That sounds very German.
The director of scouting for the Rockies.
Got it.
So, so high school to college to pro. Let's see here. Well, I started dating Cade my junior year of high school. He's a year older. So it was right after he signed with ORU and like committed. And we got together. And honestly, I thought that like I was just gonna be with some guy who like majored in engineering and like just played college baseball, because he was not as good as he is now at that period of time.
He's a smart little engineering boy for a while.
He's obsessed with planes. Yeah.
That's how my dad is. One day you're gonna wake up and he's gonna have a flight simulator. My dad has one on his computer, and that's all he does. Cade, don't. I hope, close your ears if you're listening right now. Don't buy. Hey, that might be better than a boat. At least he doesn't have to worry about storage. It's just there.
Yeah.
And he can learn to fly. Fake planes on the internet. No risk involved.
That would be good. That would be appreciated. That would stress me out a little less.
It's better than him taking flight lessons.
Yeah.
My mom did that. So we got two sides of the coin with my parents. She's no longer a pilot, but she was at one point.
That's fair.
Yeah. But anyways.
Where was I?
Dating man you thought was going to be an engineer.
And so like obviously he goes to college and he's like doing the whole baseball thing, and he went in like throwing 86 to 88, and like he hit 90 for the first time in college. And we were like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is where he's going to top out. Like, he's just going to throw 90, just going to be one of those regular, like, strike throwing right-handers that has a little speed, you know? And then he just kept getting better. And so then we were like, wait, this might actually go somewhere, you know? So then he changed his major, which kind of stressed me out because I was like, what does a business admin major do? Like, you're putting a lot of eggs in this one basket.
Become a manager.
Yeah.
Not the baseball kind, just a manager.
Yeah. That one.
But don't have to worry about that now.
Yeah. And so then he signed with his advisor this past year, which, if you don't know, college and high school guys can't have agents per se, because then they're professional athletes, because agents are paid and advisors are not. And so Cade's lovely advisor, who I consider a frenemy, because he's great for Cade, but he takes him away all the time, so we're frenemies.
Does he know that you're frenemy?
Yes. Okay. Cade has told him.
Okay, I was gonna say, is this one-sided, or has he acknowledged that?
He's acknowledged it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And he was like, I'll win her over one day. And I'm like, not today. Not today.
Well, he made your man more money than he was supposed to get originally, so.
That's very true. Technically, it's less than he was supposed to get originally. But more than he was slated to get.
More than his first offer.
Yeah. By $40,000.
Who was his first offer again?
Texas Rangers. For $460.
Yes.
And they didn't want to cough over another $40,000.
They don't know what mistake they've made.
Yeah, well, they'll see.
I was telling my parents about that, and my mom was like, and he wasn't mad at him for ruining his chance to go in the 4th round, and I was like, he made more money, so.
Yeah.
So.
I'm pretty okay with that.
And it was like within like an hour of each other. It's not like he had to wait a whole nother day.
No, there was like a minute in between picks. Yeah. So it wasn't like.
No.
It wasn't stressful much.
It's not like it was first or second round.
Yeah. But.
Yeah, I imagine it was still stressful either way.
It was so stressful. And so the advisor was really good for him. He negotiated with ORU to put him on athletic scholarship, which was nice. For Cade. But the other options would have been great too. Hint, hint. If you know, you know.
These guys.
So, yeah. I mean, the transitions are rough because, like, obviously, I did not go to ORU, and so long distance started 6 months into our relationship, and then during season, he's traveling all the time, like every weekend for baseball. And so now that he's like transitioning to pro and he's officially signed, they don't get released until October 10th. And it's July 18th.
So where is he again? I don't think you ever finished that sentence earlier when I asked.
Oh, yeah. He's in Arizona.
Okay, yes.
Currently. Right. And we don't know where he's going to go or where they'll send him. But he's in Arizona doing a mini camp. And then Friday, they transition all the draft guys into the complex league with the rest of those people, which is like the base level. Mm-hmm. And then he could go to low A, which is in Fresno, California, or high A, which is in Spokane, Washington. And then the Rockies double A is in Hartford, Connecticut. They're the Yard Goats. I'm very much looking forward to that. And then their triple A is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they're the Isotopes. What's an isotope?
It is a
Miss Science person.
It's like...
Is that science?
Yeah, it's chemistry. Okay. It's like the configuration
I was not good at chemistry.
Like, I don't know. I'm bad at, like, actually describing chemical things. So, yeah. It's like when an element has, like... So, all elements have a set number of protons. Mm-hmm. So, like... Because if you add a proton, it becomes a different element, or take one away. But they have different number of neutrons, which are also in the nucleus. Gotcha. And then the electrons are on the outside. So it's like, so have you ever heard of like carbon-13 dating? Like what they use to like date fossils and stuff, which isn't a completely reliable method. But carbon-13 is carbon with 13 neutrons. But carbon itself has 12 protons. So there's one more neutron than what would normally be in like a balanced carbon, which would be carbon-12.
So an isotope is a non-balanced.
Kind of. It's not that they're necessarily... They might be a little more unstable than like one that's balanced the number of neutrons and protons. But an isotope, carbon-12 is still technically an isotope. It just has to, like... Any number of neutrons is just a different isotope of that element. Gotcha. So there's kind of a limitless potential for... But I mean, the more that you throw it off, the more unstable that atom's going to be. And it'll eventually find some kind of equilibrium by reacting with stuff or whatever.
Gotcha. This has been your science segment for
the day. There's going to be more of Ceola's chemistry corner later. I have a very important PSA. But
oh, yes.
I'm very passionate about, but we can finish every sports for now.
But yeah, so he's out there doing his thing. His roommate, so this is really funny. His roommate has been dating his girlfriend for 3 years. Cade and I have been dating for like 3.5 something. Yeah. And then Cade's other friend who's out there that he played summer ball with at some point, I think, has been dating his girlfriend for 4 years. So they're all just like ball and chain out there living their best lives together. One of the guys' moms is out there, and his mom brought her friend, who's apparently like really rich somehow, and she's just like taking them out to like dinner and activities.
Well, that's nice, since they barely get money to pay for their own food every week.
They get like $600 a week while they're out there, and they get a little like meal stipend. But where they're staying is like a 4-star resort.
Yeah, what kind of cheap food are you gonna find out there? None.
The closest thing is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and Fogo de Chão, Brazilian steakhouse.
Well, at least Brazilian's all you can eat, so you're gonna get your money's worth.
That's true.
And, you know, baseball boys can eat.
Cade definitely can.
Is there, like, any grocery stores nearby they can go to? Because they pay for Uber, right?
Yeah, I think the closest one is, like, Trader Joe's.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's a little... Some stuff is a little expensive.
At least it's not Erewhon.
Good. Yeah.
Buy a sandwich for your whole meal stipend.
Buy a $13... No, that's probably more than that. I was going to say a $13 smoothie, but they're probably, like, 21.
Yeah.
I want to go there once in my life and hate on it and then leave.
I want to try something.
Yeah. Probably not one of those smoothies. I hear they're pretty gross, actually.
I heard the buffalo cauliflower is really good.
I'm not a buffalo gal, so... But, yeah, I would try something there. I just kind of want to walk around and see what's so good about the fruit there that we don't have at Walmart. Or at least at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I imagine... Was that you?
That was me.
Okay. I imagine that Erewhon is just an excuse for rich people to feel superior for no reason.
As if Whole Foods wasn't enough.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that in a second. I want to talk about Ceola's Chemistry Corner real quick. Because I've discovered an entire community of people on TikTok This has nothing to do with athletics, nothing. There's an entire community of people on the internet who are consuming borax. And if you're thinking, I feel like I've heard that word before, you probably have, because it's laundry detergent. And it's also the thing that people use to activate slime. Don't eat that. Like, I know that there are chemicals that have multi-purposes that are safe for consumption, but also can be used for other stuff. This is not one of those things. No. If you need more boron in your diet, eat vegetables that have boron in them. Because I do understand that there is a use for having more boron in your body. I don't know the ins and outs of that. But I know that there is like some chemical thing. But borax is not boron. Mm-hmm. It's also not just...
There they are.
Sodium. Yeah, I know. I think that actually is her.
Oh my goodness.
It's not also just sodium borate. It's like sodium tetraborate. And I saw people being like, well, it's just boron, sodium, and oxygen, isn't it? Well, you know what else is? And like, they're like, it's all natural. Okay, you know what else is natural? Cyanide, which is carbon and nitrogen. Both of which are things you consume often.
But put together,
yeah,
they're not good.
And H2O is water. H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide. Just because there's one extra oxygen doesn't mean it's safe.
You should not
shouldn't drink sodium peroxide. Or hydrogen peroxide. You shouldn't drink sodium peroxide either. In the same way, salt is sodium chloride. Those two elements separated, you should not be consuming. Sodium, pure sodium, when it comes into contact with water, explodes. You don't want to put that in your mouth, do you? No. Pure chlorine gas can kill you. You don't want to breathe that, do you? No. Or eat it? So why are we eating borax?
Although I feel like I've eaten my fair share in the pool.
Oh, yeah, well, that's different though still, because that's usually just ionized. It's not Cl2 gas. It's the reason you don't mix urea with chlorine when you're cleaning your toilet. Because you can create chlorine gas and kill yourself. Or at least make you, like, pass out and feel really bad. But I literally, when I was, like, scrolling through this, I came upon a video of this lady saying that she fell into the trap and then she poisoned herself, basically, by consuming borax. And I was like, y'all need to blast the, like, someone needs to blast this, because stop eating borax. Do not put it in your water. Don't sprinkle it on your food like salt. Sprinkle salt on your food like salt.
It's the Tide Pods all over again.
Literally. It is the Tide, like...
It's laundry detergent.
These are the same people that make fun of Gen Z for eating Tide Pods, which, like, one person did, and it became a silly trend. But
it was not for your health.
No, but you're going to turn around and be like, but you should eat borax. Because the other thing is, they're buying it from the laundry detergent aisle, and they're being like, oh, it's fine. You don't know... Because that's not meant for consumption, that borax could very easily be adulterated with something else. You have no idea what's in there. Yeah. So there's a potential that it's not just
It's like buying drugs. You never know what it's laced with.
Yeah, exactly. Not
I've
done
that.
But like, and it's, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I know. Pretty sure borax is mined, I think they said somewhere. Like, because it is technically like a natural mineral, like, form of the mineral. If it's mined, there's no telling what else is in the sediment that they're mining it from.
Yeah.
So stop eating borax. Anyways, Ceola's chemistry corner closed today. That was 2 chemistry things in one day. That's a lot for me.
I wish you could see her notes, because it's literally just all caps, don't eat borax.
With 2 exclamation points at the end. Because I just don't understand the logic.
Yeah.
These are the same people, because they're all like 45 and up. Like, these are the same people that told us, don't believe everything you see on Facebook 10 years ago. Don't believe everything you see on TikTok, Grandma. Like, that's not ageism. That's just me turning your all's words around on you.
That's just Ceola being spunky.
Yeah, this is a... When if I had known that I was going to discover an entire world of people who know who don't even, like, think.
Just don't think.
I would have never gotten a chemistry degree. The amount of people who just say things that are so blatantly wrong. And I'm like, have you seen Parks and Recreation?
No.
There's an episode of this guy, Ron Swanson, who's a very outdoorsy man, very hands-on guy.
He's the one with the mustache.
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes into Lowe's. Someone asks if he needs help, and he just goes, "I know more than you." That's how I feel. And sometimes I wish I didn't feel that way, so that I could also be as painfully ignorant, like
me in this situation.
But I think you're smart enough to know not to eat laundry detergent. I would hope.
I really hope so. Yeah.
Now you know, so you have no excuses.
I mean, I didn't fall for the Tide Pod trend, so
fair.
I also didn't eat cinnamon.
Don't get me wrong; they do look yummy. Like they do look like the kind of thing I would want to sink my teeth into.
They're like the popping juice
the
bubble
little
things.
Bobas.
They look like they would just be so satisfying. Just
but just go to a froyo place and get the popping bobas instead.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, but tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there we go. Back to this was like a emergency news report. Back to normal discussions. So, what you suggested weird or funny things that happen. I didn't know what you meant by that, so I just kind of wrote that down, and I didn't know if there was a story you had in mind or what you were planning on saying. I can pull up your exact words from your text. You said, any other funny stuff that's happened you can think of. I didn't know what you meant by that.
I also didn't really know.
Cool.
I mean, is there like a funny circumstance?
I don't know. I'm trying
to think. Hang on. Gotta boot up the old brain.
I don't know. You've had some people that weren't your friends who wanted to become your friends this year when Cade kind of popped off. As if they think they're not being so obvious.
Oh man. So I'm not gonna name names, even though you're never gonna see this.
You never know.
But there are certain people at a certain school, right, that we would watch a lot of baseball at. Who every year kind of cling on to the guy who looks like he's gonna go far, might get drafted, or is has the best stats that year, and they ignore everyone else. So Cade was a member of a team for 3 years,
and he was not that guy for a while.
He was not that guy. He was he was the only guy in his freshman class that actually played consistently their freshman year.
That's good.
But I never talked to these people ever. I was completely ignored. And then this season, when they finally were realizing, oh, this guy's a draft prospect, I got a lot of Instagram follows, and I got a lot of hi, how you doings at baseball games, and got some really nice treatment. It was kind of fun.
Hey, bestie.
Yeah. And, I'm no. This is making you worse in my eyes.
You are transparent right now. I'm there's no questioning what you're trying to do.
No. And it's so frustrating. Because, if you want to just hop on the train, actually be supportive, and, I don't care if you're a bandwagon fan, and, you just want to, say, hey, good job, I'm proud of you, even if you haven't paid attention before, I don't care, but, don't try to be my best friend just because you want to reap the benefits that I'm not even reaping yet. I don't know what you were wanting to achieve. Is going
to happen.
Yeah, I'm in school for 2 more years. I don't know.
He wasn't going first pick.
No.
He wasn't Paul Skeens. I hate to break it to you.
Paul Skeens even signed under slot. by like $700,000.
He's still making enough.
He's still making $9 million.
But it's like, I don't know. Does he have a girlfriend? If he does
allegedly,
reaping anything from this? Like,
not yet. They don't get paid for 30 days after they sign.
Still. But like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. Do they expect him to just randomly start spending money on these people?
Right?
Like, I don't
like,
or like to get them clout somehow.
Yeah.
Because what, he follows you on Instagram I mean, you know, maybe one day, but as of right now, Cade Denton is not just gonna suddenly have a fan, like, you know, he's not about to just have like a suddenly dedicated group of random people in Colorado who are like tracking his every move, as are most pro players, unless they were already a fan of him beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's gonna have a fan club that's like, I'm gonna follow every single person that he follows on this. Like, you know what I mean? He's not like, I don't know who's a famous person that people would do that for.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Not. Yeah.
As much as I love you, babe, not Cade Denton.
Maybe one day.
Maybe.
But as of today, no.
No.
And probably not for a couple years at least.
The closest, like, fans Cade has is literally, like, my brother and sister-in-law and their kids live, like, an hour from Denver. So that's, like, the only Colorado people.
Yeah.
That are, like, fans as of right now.
I think it's funny how the Rockies have not posted a singular thing.
Right?
That I've, like, about...
It was only the first 2 rounds. Other than their 2
first... Yeah. I thought maybe they'd post... Even on their story yesterday about signing. Nope.
Nothing.
I was like, dang, okay.
Their, like, fan accounts have, like, Blake Street, something or other, has, like, posted about it. But that's it. There wasn't even, like, professional photographers there. Those pictures came from his teammate's mom's friend that was there.
So is it like every single draft pick is in Phoenix right now, or is it okay? I didn't know if it was like, because NFL they did draft days where it was like, not even all of them, but a lot of their like newly drafted guys all went to one place and like did the jersey for the first time and like that stuff.
Yeah, so every team does this where all of their draft picks for that year will either go to like, they'll go to their spring training facility, which is either Arizona or Florida. And they'll do like a mini camp. So for like a week or so, they'll all work out together. And then based on what they see there, they'll transition to either like complex league, high A, low A.
And that's when they'll send them off to whatever city.
Yeah. And it's just like getting all the physicals and everything like that done. So like Sunday, Cade at 5:45 in the morning had to go get like 5 MRIs done.
So obviously they didn't find anything because they signed him.
There's nothing wrong with him.
Well, that's good.
At least physically.
I was gonna say, I mean, you never know, but
yeah. But so yeah, and then they have 15 pitchers and 9 position players so far, but free agency is still open. So you never know.
Nice. Yeah, interesting. Trying to think of other funny, weird things that you've mentioned happening.
Other than like girls being obsessed with him.
I was gonna say he had his international fans at one point.
That was his freshman year too.
Wow, dedication.
Yeah, he was like a lot skinnier and did not throw as fast.
Well, they didn't particularly know any better.
I mean, he's cute.
What, Brazilian?
I mean, yeah.
It's not like I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think baseball is very big in Brazil compared to like soccer, football.
It's big in like like really huge in like Portugal, Dominican Republic. I mean, yeah. It's like it's
Portugal.
big.
You mean Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Sorry.
I was like, wow, I didn't know.
I mean, it is like kind of big there.
Yeah, I knew in like the Caribbean it's a much bigger thing, but
yeah.
And Japan, it's very big.
Yes.
I think now there's more of an audience in places in Europe, but I don't know where.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just learned today about apparently or they're going to start doing it every year, but a few times they've done this thing where a college rivalry, like football, will go to Ireland and play because I guess Ireland likes the US, which I think is hilarious. And so, I don't know, but they have this thing in Dublin. They did it this past year, and they've done it a few other times where they bring 2 NCAA football teams to play. And they try to pick at least one of the teams to be like an Irish Catholic school. So like Notre Dame.
What other Irish Catholic?
I think Rutgers was one of them that did it. Like a lot of East Coast schools.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, isn't that funny?
That's hilarious.
Just
I would not have thought that.
The one last year, they're going to have it again this year, but last year, the stadium they did it in holds 49,000 people, or 46,000, one of those two. I think it was 49. And 13,000 of those fans flew from the US, because that's their goal, is for like to convince like Irish heritage Americans to come visit their homeland.
Homeland.
But like, so like 13,000 Americans came, like 3,000 people from other countries, and then the rest were all like Irish nationals.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I wonder if the tailgate.
I don't know. Because I've thought about that too when they do NFL London and like NFL Mexico, and I think they're about to do NFL Germany, I think is going to start this year.
That makes more sense because there's like actual football teams in Germany.
Yeah, they love American football there.
They do.
They love Tom Brady, which I think is hilarious.
I could not
agree with
that.
But I also learned NFL London, so they used to do it, well, now they've split it up. They did, like this last year, they did one at Wembley, which is like the football stadium, soccer stadium in England. It's where like the English national team plays. It's where they do like big matches and like big like league championship games and stuff like that. So it's not tied down by one team. So they'll do NFL London there sometimes, but now they also do it at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where there's a soccer pitch on top, which can be removed to reveal an American gridiron football field below it that's regulation size. And it's the only stadium in the world that does that. It breaks up into 3 pieces and can be removed to reveal the American football stadium underneath.
So at its heart, it is American football.
Yeah, maybe I should become a Tottenham fan. I don't really care a lot about English football, but
no.
I'm a bandwagon fan from Manchester City.
Why?
I don't know. They won like 3 different cups this year, and I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. And I like the color of their jerseys, the like baby blue. It's technically sky blue, I've learned. I also think Jack Grealish is really funny. He's such a silly little lad. I follow him on Instagram. He's like
such a silly little lad.
Well, he's just so like young and so rich and just does dumb things. And I think that's hilarious. Like, it's stupid, but it's funny. Yeah. But, and then we talked about, I am going to start following AFC Wimbledon, who's not in the Premier League. But then Tottenham is probably my next choice because Tom Holland is a fan of Tottenham. Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool that they have a football field under their pitch.
Speaking of, so this ties in with like 3 of other topics.
Cool.
So, the Quarterback Show.
Yes.
On Netflix. I've been watching that. I have strong opinions on the people in it, first of all, but we can touch on that later. I realized, I didn't know this, but Mrs. Mahomes, Brittany, is a part owner of the Kansas City women's soccer team.
Yeah, he bought it for like 2 years ago, I think. Maybe last year.
But I also didn't realize she like played soccer in college and went to Iceland for a year and played professionally.
Oh, I didn't know she played professional. I just thought she played in college,
for like
and that was that.
A year in Iceland, and that was it.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew she like was a college athlete. I just didn't know that she ever played pro.
Yeah, she played at UT Tyler. Shout out everyone that I know that settled to go there.
That's kind of funny that they went to completely different schools.
That's like the opposite side of the state, too.
Yeah, and they still stayed together. That's honestly impressive. Especially like
go long distance college couples.
Them both being college athletes, like because their seasons are kind of overlapping too. Like soccer is mostly in the fall for women's soccer. Some is in the spring too. But yeah, that's I haven't watched the first episode. I've only watched the second episode. I have thoughts on Kirk's personal shrine to himself. I appreciate that it's hidden behind a bookcase. I think that makes it a bit more tasteful because, like he said, he was like, well, I didn't want it to be in the living room where everyone's seated or like sits. So yeah, I appreciate the thought of not putting it where people congregate so they can just look at things. And I think like it's nice that most of what it is like ball, like football, like game balls and medals and stuff that he's collected since he was a kid playing football. Yeah. But I do think it's weird that some of those jerseys are on mannequins. That's the part that I don't like.
It's a little.
Just get them framed like a normal person. Have them tacked on a frame and call it a day.
With each episode, I like Kirk Cousins less and less, to be honest with you. And I like the Mariotas. They're a cute couple.
I remember when he won the Heisman and he just seemed like a cool dude then. And so I feel like I honestly didn't know he was still playing football until I saw the show. Because
he was benched for like a long time.
Well, true. But like the thing about pro football now is like when I was a kid, my family had the NFL Sunday Pass or whatever. So we would be able to watch every game if we wanted to. Yeah. And now we don't because there's rarely ever a time where, because my parents are Chiefs fans, that we won't be able to watch a Chiefs game just because they're Arkansas's closest pro football team. So like because of that, they pretty much play every single Chiefs game in Arkansas, and so we don't have to worry about not watching those games. Sucks because they don't play all of the Cincy games. I wish they did because, you know, whenever the Chiefs aren't playing, I want to watch the Bengals. But those games are always at the same time.
Yeah.
It makes me mad.
Also, we love media blackouts.
Yeah. But yeah, so now we don't hardly watch as many games as we used to just because we only watch what's on or what's like accessible. And so even when I was in Atlanta last year, I was in Atlanta during a Falcons game. It was on the TV while we were at lunch. Didn't know there was going to be a home game that weekend, but we stayed away from Mercedes-Benz. But like, I didn't even recognize that Mariota was the quarterback then while I was there. Oops.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, Mercedes-Benz Stadium is a very nice stadium.
I've seen, like, it looks really
nice. It's the cheapest food you can get at a stadium. Really? And it's, like, famously. Like, you can get a whole pizza for, like, $6. Like, a solid-sized pizza.
Oh, my gosh.
And, like,
Bring it to Razorback
And Stadium. Since it's Atlanta, Georgia, you can get a Coke. You, like, go to the thing, and then they just have Coke fountains around. So whenever you want to refill, you just go refill your Coke on your own. And you don't have to pay for
free.
It. Mm-hmm. I know, right? At least that's how it was end of 2019, beginning of 2020 when I went for Passion.
We're getting cheated.
I know. As soon as I came back to Arkansas and had to pay like $13 for a water bottle, I was like, well, dang, this kind of sucks. Water there was $2 and a pretzel was like $3. It was awesome. One of my friends was like, hey, will you like give me a water? I'll Venmo you. And I was like, don't even worry. I like barely spent any money on you, man. Like, you're fine. Let me treat you to this water bottle and pretzel. Like, you enjoy that on my dime because I barely spent one.
Dude, at Omaha, it always ended up that we were at the stadium for at least one meal a day. And so I was like, I would go get my food. And of course, like, I'm allergic to lactose. Everything at stadiums has cheese. Everything except for like a pretzel. And so, yeah, but I was like, I don't want to eat a hot dog.
Not every day.
Not every day, no. And so I finally found out that they could like take cheese off of a couple things. So I got those, but like a small portion and a soda, I was paying like $22.
Huh. At least Arkansas is not that bad, but I mean Arkansas is still expensive. There's no reason for y'all to be charging that much for me to get a,
especially outside the student section,
nasty Dasani water.
Enough.
Yeah, like it makes more sense for me to buy the big cup of Coke or Dr. Pepper or whatever for however much that is, like $8. But am I allowed to refill it with stuff that's not water? I don't know, so I've never tried. Yeah. I usually just go get water from the water fountain if I need to.
Isn't that normally the thing? Like you get like the like collectible cup and they'll like refill it.
I don't actually. I've never tried. You probably can get a refill on it. I always just go get water and like go fill it with water when I finish.
Yeah, because who wants to wait in those lines?
Exactly. Yeah, no, not me. Especially on like the first game of the year when it's 1,000,000,000 degrees.
Right.
And
it's always like a midday game.
Well, the SEC doesn't like us, so they just give us the worst game times always.
Like I hate midday games, but the last game of the season, I would have loved a midday game because they were playing at night when it was like 20 degrees.
Yeah, no, why? Whose idea was that for us to play? What was it, Ole Miss at 6 p.m.?
It was awful on the coldest day.
Yeah, it was 23 degrees the entire game. It started at 27 and dropped to 23.
I thought it got to like 19.
It probably did right as we were leaving, but like
it was so...
for most of the game it was 23 because I kept checking and being like, how is it this cold? Had hot hands in my gloves. Every time I clapped they would get hot again and then they would stop.
And we like camped out for that game too because my friends are the ones that like normally paint up. We did not paint up that day, obviously. But we were like camped out all day and like I was not prepared. So luckily Cade's parents, they live here and they brought me cold weather supplies. It was very nice.
Yeah, my coat, so I was wearing a long sleeve compression like thermo shirt with a sweatshirt over it, I'm pretty sure, and then my coat. And it made me realize that, like, because I'm hoping to go to the New Year's Day Chiefs-Bengals game this year. Yeah. Or technically next year, I guess, because only New Year's Day. That setup is not going to work in Kansas City. It's cold up there, and I've been up there when it snows, and it's fun to throw snowballs because they don't pack very tightly. They just kind of burst because it's so cold they don't stick together. But
so they don't have like sleet snow?
When they first start getting snow sometimes, yeah, because I do remember probably that same trip where as we were driving up it started snowing and so the roads got pretty slick because it was starting to cool down. But then like after that it was all powder because it cooled down so fast.
My first experience with powder snow was here.
Really?
Because, I mean, I'm from Texas. Yeah. And the only snow we get is, like, actual ice. Like, you can't throw it at somebody because it'll hurt them.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, Arkansas, our weather's weird, man. It goes from being, like, there was one year in high school where it randomly snowed May, 12th. Like, middle of May. It had been fine, and then all of a sudden God was like, how about snow? Just Parmesan shaker real quick and call it a day.
Make things a little more interesting.
Yeah, it was like, it snowed one day, melted by the next day. And that was that.
My freshman year, it snowed like 4 times. And I did not know what to do.
Yeah, that was
I bought my first winter coat to come to school here, guys.
Yeah, because that was, 3 years ago? 2 years, yeah. Yeah, me and Taylor were stuck inside for at our apartment, and it was not fun. I ended up driving home back to my house, because I'm not particularly great at driving in snow, but I'm a heck of a lot better than a lot of the people are at driving in snow around here.
I had to drive all my friends around, because I didn't have 4-wheel drive, but I know how to drive. with 4-wheel drive and like in conditions. And so I was driving my friend's car so that we could go eat because campus was closed.
Yeah.
But all of us little freshmen that needed to eat and couldn't go anywhere were kind of stuck.
I'll never forget. So it wasn't this past season, but it was the year before. Went to a basketball game after it had snowed, but it wasn't bad enough that all the roads were completely covered, but the sidewalks on campus were still pretty bad. And this past year, they didn't let us. They changed how the basketball parking worked, but we used to be able to park in the lot in front of the football stadium for basketball games. And half of the lot was still covered in ice.
And that's like a hill.
Yeah. So I parked in a spot that I didn't realize as I was pulling in, but I immediately realized as soon as I got out of the car. Half of it was iced, and the other half was dry. Oh. And of course, the icy side was my driver's door side. So I opened the door. Immediately, I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave my car here anyways. It's fine. So I get out. I have to like grip onto the side of the car to get out, like to get to where it's dry. Stumble my way down to Bud Walton. Game happens. We go back. I parked straight. My car was tilted. My 2 side wheels had slipped on the ice until it could get enough friction. So my car was just diagonal in the parking space. And I was like, well, didn't hit anything. It's fine. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have just left my car here. No. I could have just moved to a different spot, but it was fine.
The last time it snowed this year, it cracked my windshield. I have yet to get it fixed. It's on the slate, Mom and Dad, to do in August.
I thought you were going to do it like this week.
I'd have said that.
No. I thought you said last week you were going to do it like, maybe you said next month.
Yeah, but I thought next month, August. It's in the budget.
Nice.
Gotta fix up Terry.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to briefly mention, Jess. Anna, Kathleen, and I'll probably talk about it more next week, but Northwest Arkansas is getting 2 pro soccer teams.
Exciting stuff.
A women's and men's team. It's not MLS, which is like the top league. It's USL, which is the second tier league. But right now they have a thing where you can go on their website and submit name and like team color suggestions. So I did one for men's and women's. So that's cool.
What were your suggestions?
So we had talked about the volleyball team thing. And my name for the volleyball team was the Arkansas Diamonds because we have a diamond mine. Yep. And so I was like, well, if we can't have a pro volleyball team, at least our women's soccer team could potentially be called the Diamonds. Yeah. And I said that their color would be like sapphire blue because there's not really a diamond blue because they're technically clear most of the time, not always. It's either that or brown, and no one likes brown diamonds that much.
I like canary.
What color is that?
They're yellow.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. But so I suggested like sapphire blue. And then for the men's team, I could not think of a name, but I knew I wanted green, like forest green. So I said the Ozark Pines because the state tree is the pine.
Did not know that.
And we live technically kind of in the Ozarks. So
like the edge.
Ozark Pines.
Yeah.
And the color would be like forest green or fern green.
Fern green. I like fern green.
Fern is a very pretty color.
How about the ferns?
And then the secondary color would be ivory. So yeah.
I think I would suggest the ferns now.
You can. And then it enters you into a contest to win 2 tickets to the Southwest Classic. So, yeah. And then, like, you can put other suggestions, too, about, like, what the crest will look like and stuff like that.
The crest?
Yeah, every soccer team has, like, a team crest.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm excited. The location for the stadium sucks. It's going to be next to the Pinnacle Hills Mall. Across the street from Fish City, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
Why they would put it across the street from an old people apartment complex? Like a retirement place that they're building right now?
No so you're going to have a loud soccer stadium.
Yeah.
Next to the old people.
Yeah. Next to another apartment complex as well.
I mean, it makes sense because, like, the amp's over there and, like...
Yeah, but there's...
That's where all the rich people are.
Other property that they probably could have built it on that wasn't attached to the mall.
So are they going to have just one stadium for men's and women's? Or are they going to have... Oh.
That's how a lot of pro teams do it, though. At least in the UK. That's how the Premier League is.
Doesn't the US women's and the US men's have different...
Well, yeah, but that's because it's the national team.
That's true.
But I think the individual pro teams... I don't know enough about MLS, but... Yeah. What was I going to say? Women's national team is about to play in the World Cup. So that's cool.
It's exciting.
But yeah, they could have picked literally any other place to put that soccer stadium, and
there's so much land in this area.
Yeah, and there's land near where they wanted to have, like where it is now in Rogers, that they could have chosen. I get that, like, it'll be good for parking because people can park at the mall and stuff like that.
Well,
and
it's
like
gonna be awful for the mall, though.
Yeah. But I don't know. It would be kind of nice to be able to like go to Culver's and then go to a soccer game. I love Culver's.
I love that mall.
It's a pretty solid mall.
Yeah.
It could be improved. But I've also lived here my whole life, so...
It has Lululemon and Athleta, which I recently discovered.
Wish we still had Abercrombie here. We used to. Or not. No. What's the other store that starts with an A?
Aeropostale?
No, I think it is Abercrombie.
They have an Aeropostale.
Yeah. Abercrombie has rebranded a lot. And there was this one specific dress that I kept getting ads for that I really wanted. But they don't have one, like... I think the closest one is in... I don't even think there's one in Tulsa. There might be one in Tulsa.
It might be in, like, KC.
And there's one in KC, but I can't remember if there's one in Oklahoma City or if there actually truly is one in Tulsa. But, I really wanted that dress, but I didn't want to buy it online and then have to, like, do the whole thing where you have to send it back. Yeah. I just wanted to go and try stuff on at the store. But it's fine. And their swimsuit collection this year was very good.
I haven't seen that.
They have, it's like the bra sizing. And so it was like...
I love when bathing suits are bra sizes.
Yeah, and it was like they had like a curvy collection too. Yeah, see?
Dude, okay. For those of us
who have been blessed by God.
Who, well, I wouldn't call it a blessing.
Half blessed.
Who are blessed in the eyes of others, but whom ourselves are very miserable most of the time. Bra sizing in swimsuits is a gift from God. And I'm really happy to hear that, honestly.
Well, yeah, so
shed a tear.
The more you know. Whenever your man starts making money, we can take a little trip to Tulsa / Kansas City / wherever.
That's the plan. Is he's gonna finance a shopping trip for me.
Ooh.
As a thank you for driving to watch him play baseball for 3 years.
Do you need a friend to come with you?
Absolutely. He won't be here.
Cool.
He won't be here till October.
Yeah, he doesn't need to know what all stores you actually go to. He'll just cover his eyes and swipe the card. Well, he won't be the one swiping it, but he'll just
send me a lump
sum. He'll
sum.
see the bank statement and go,
yeah.
And
then when something else happens, he'll have to look away.
Yeah. He won't eat away too much at his salary, I'm sure.
No. Not really.
Plenty to spare.
Like maybe a 10th. Maybe.
He can invest a little bit of his money, make some back passively, call it a day.
I mean, I think I'm an investment. He's investing his money. He'll get a return later.
Okay.
Not like that, Ceola.
I know.
Like, he gets to love me for the rest of his life.
I was thinking even just children.
Yeah.
But
I guess.
Yeah. I think it's funny to say it that way. To consider yourself a...
I am.
You'll be paying back with interest.
Yeah. I mean, like, that one clip that's like, you give a woman something and, like, she gives you back, like, tenfold. Like, you give her a house, she can, like, decorate and, like, make it a home. You give her, and she gives you a kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Investment.
Well, there you go. Wouldn't know. But fun information to have.
Yeah. You're investing in yourself.
Period. Yeah, I did a research study. I was a participant in a research study today. She just sent me the gift card for it a little bit ago.
Email.
Yeah. 40 Amazon bucks.
Hey. That's nice. I did one that I got 200.
Nice. Mm-hmm. She attached a bunch of mocap dots to my head and watched me play on the computer, basically. I just had to do a bunch of tasks. It was like it had to do with either using like a double monitor system or one single wide monitor.
I can't do the double monitors. Just like
I don't like the little thing in the space in the middle where it's not seamless.
Yeah, I just I can't concentrate on both.
It's useful for what I do in research because we have multiple tabs open, and so we can like go back and forth. But it's annoying when I'm trying to like make a window smaller or something and my mouse keeps jumping over to the other side. Mm-hmm. It's just like the single is so much better, and that's what I told her. Yeah. But yeah, so had a bunch of little stickies stuck to me all over my face. It was like here in front of my ears, corners of the eyes, one right here, one on my chin, two up here, and then I had a thing stuck to my shirt.
I would have loved to see a picture of that.
I almost took one, and then I was like,
it's
fine. But yeah. The little motion capture dots. Speaking of, this is probably the last thing because we are definitely over time. But 100%. Yesterday I met the new Arkansas volleyball associate head coach.
We have one?
Yes. So they're doing volleyball camp right now in the Hyper, or part of it's in the Hyper. It's technically in Barnhill. But they do a lot of like the breakouts or whatever in the Hyper across the hall from our lab. Mm-hmm. And I was just in there. I had like nothing to do yesterday. So I was just like sitting in there and I was getting ready to leave. But I was just watching a YouTube video on my phone. And then all of a sudden she popped her head in. And at first I like didn't know who she was, but I saw she was wearing a volleyball shirt. Mm-hmm. And I was like, she looks like a coach. And I was like, she was like, oh, sorry. I was just looking around seeing what else in here. So I was like, oh, well, this is like a motion capture system, blah, blah, blah. She was like, oh, thanks, cool. And like she was really nice. But so I immediately looked her up, and I guess she like just came from K-State like this year. So she's very new to Arkansas.
Well, welcome.
But yeah, I know. If I had known that she was like new, I would have been like, oh yeah, like I can, if you want a tour, I got you. Also yesterday, they didn't have it today. I was so sad. Yesterday, they had the Gatorade thing in the hall. Every time I passed by it, I was good. I really wanted to take a cup of Gatorade with me.
Yeah.
If it's back in the hall tomorrow.
Do it.
I may or may not be stealing some Gatorade. Y'all can afford it.
Yeah.
It's Gatorade from a 2-gallon with paper cups. Or 4-gallon or however big those things are.
They can afford it.
We'll be fine. You'll be fine. I paid for volleyball camp when I was in high school. I probably didn't drink my money's worth of Gatorade.
Just gotta make up for
Retribution.
it. Yeah.
Anyways, that's enough of that.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes. Thank you for replacing Anna Kathleen forever and all.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to see what the future of this show holds for me.
As our WAG consultant.
Yes.
I've considered whether or not we should follow Cade on that account.
Nah, he has enough.
He doesn't. Yeah, his ego doesn't need to grow too big.
His head's big enough already. That's my job. I keep him humble.
There you go. Yeah, that's all of our jobs. I think.
Me and my friends, we just keep him humble.
He's just a funny guy. A silly little man. As they all are.
Or as he would say, a charming young man.
Yeah, definitely gotta keep him humble. Sorry, Cade. I
love you, babe. Here. So proud of you.
Hold up a hand heart. Finger heart. Who knows if that's centered or not.
He's gonna get mad at me for drinking another energy drink.
That's fine. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching, listening, subscribing, liking, following, social medias, all that jazz. Anything to plug?
I'm trying to break 1,000 followers on Instagram.
What are you at now?
930 something.
Trying to break 600, so we're at 595 as of last I checked the other day. I don't remember how long it's been, but okay. Well, there we go. Anyways,
have a great week.
Go be a world-class athlete. Now I have to turn this off. Bye.
Bye.